we launch our RDS instance with RDS proxy. Okay, so this is our architecture diagram. We are ready with our RDS proxy and the RDS. In this video, what we are going to do, we are going to create a one Node.js application into our EC2 instance. And with the help of this Node.js application, we are going to retrieve the data in RDS by using the RDS proxy. So let's get started. Before that, let me explain you. From now, we are going to use the endpoint of the RDS proxy, not the RDS. Let me open my EC2 console here. I already created one EC2 instance with the required security group. If you didn't know other security group which we configured, please saw our previous videos. Okay, so this is the EC2 instance which I already created with Ubuntu as a OS. I will also explain how we can use AWS SDK with JavaScript to get a value from AWS Secret. I will connect by using the session manager. If you want, you can use the SSH client. Just make sure that to change the timeout of the SSH of your local machine and this Ubuntu OS also. I already created application for the Node.js to retrieve the data from RDS. But in this video, I will show you how we can configure the Node.js. In this video, I will show you how we can create one Node.js application to retrieve the data from RDS. So let me become root here. It's in my root directory. So this is the folder or the directory where I created the Node.js application. If I do ls, here I created all the required files. We are not going to see these files. I will show you how we can do create another Node.js application. I will create another directory here, mkdir, as an application 2. Let's change our directory to the application 2. Okay. Now before going to use Node.js or the npm for installing the required SDK packages, we need to install it. So apt-get install Node.js. I already installed it. Now let's install npm. Both packages are already available in my machine. So I will initialize the npm. Okay. Before going to code for the Node.js, let me explain our logic. What we are going to create in Node.js or what is our logic in our Node.js application. The goal is clear: to retrieve the data from the RDS. Let me get one clear screen here. Okay. To retrieve the data from RDS, we actually need to connect to the RDS, which is the first thing. Connect to RDS, and secondly, we want to execute some query. So in step 1, we are going to connect to the RDS. In step 2, we are going to execute the query. Suppose I create here one Node.js snippet. In that snippet, I write entire code for connecting to the RDS and executing the query. And consider there is a scenario where we get error while connecting to the RDS. In that scenario, what will happen? Our code is not that type of manageable. So we need to handle such errors while connecting to the RDS also, and while connecting to the while executing some queries. Cause of that reason, we are going to create two types of function here. First function is for connecting to the RDS, and second function is for executing the query. So if there is any error, then we can handle that error in that function only. So there will be no need to create one single snippet. We can create different function here. So first function is for connection, and the second function is for executing the query. So this function is nothing but going to create a connection pool. If you remember, we are going to use a MySQL2 driver for creating the connection pool. So let's get started. I'm going to use Vim as an editor. Vim rds.js. Insert mode. Now we are going to use MySQL2. So we need to install it. npm install. Okay, let me show you MySQL2. If you want, you can use different types of driver which is available. So here is the installation command. Okay, if we check our package.json file, and if you check our dependencies, MySQL2 is available now. Now again open rds.js. Let's open the documentation of MySQL. What is the basic syntax of MySQL2 for creating a connection with our RDS and for executing the query? Just click on documentation. Here we get a documentation also. But what we are going to do, we are going to use a promise wrappers. Why there is a need of promise wrappers, and what is a promise wrappers? Let me show you. So if you are able to get this is actually a type of a asynchronous function. We can create an asynchronous function or we can create a promise also. Which means that whenever there is a connection going to happen, and if there is a kind of error, this function will return one promise. If there is an error, it will going to catch that error. If there is not any error, the promise will be get resolved. So we can create these promise wrappers in our regular syntax also, and by using the asynchronous function also. I prefer by using the asynchronous way. There is no any difference between the basic promise and the asynchronous array. For using this asynchronous array, let me open just one examples here. Here is a link for examples in promise co array. Just connection and create a pool. We can create a pool, we can create a normal connection, and we can create a pool for the cluster also. But in our case, our RDS is just a single database instance. There is no any multiple endpoint for it. So we are going to use a create a pool. I will going to use a promise I'm going to use a promise here. So we need to import the MySQL2 package here, and we are going to execute our logic in our try catch block. So if there is any error, this error get caught by the catch block. So the second thing is we are going to use a try catch as a wrapper. And same for the executing the query. So this is the basic syntax. Successfully imported MySQL to here. So what asynchronous function? If you don't know what is asynchronous function, just explaining here, it's better to Google it, because if you read one or two paragraph, you will get to know what is asynchronous function. You can use arrow function, asynchronous function. I will use the function name as a pool, because we are going to create a one pool here. And in that asynchronous function, we are going to use a try catch block, so that in case if there is any error, this error will get caught by our catch block. So this is our error, it will get catch. And this is the basic structure of our creating a connection pool. In try block, we are going to execute the logic of our this function for making a connection with our RDS. So let's open the documentation here. Okay, so this is the basic syntax. We need to create one variable. In that variable, we are passing MySQL dot create a pool for creating the pool. If you just remember, we configured SSL also. So we need to pass on that SSL certificate here. So how we can pass on that SSL certificate? So this is not a proper syntax for us. If you just look at here, here is the option for create a pool config with SSL. So let's open it. So this is the basic syntax. MySQL.create pool. We need to pass on SSL, and here is the we need to pass on the path of our SSL certificate. But before that, we need to also give here our host name, user, and our password. So let's get started. Constant pool MySQL create pool. I will just copy that. It's actually a function or a method, we can say. And in it we need to pass host, username, and password. So what is our host in our case? From now, we are going to provide our RDS proxy as a host, or the host name. If there is a cluster available, we can create a connection pool with a cluster, and we can provide a multiple endpoints. We can create a separate endpoint for our reader instance. This is our host name. Now, after providing host, we need to provide our user. In our case, what is our user? It's actually our admin. If you want, you can store this host name, username in our environment variable also. But just for now, I will write it as it is here. We are not going to provide a database. Just for now. Port is a by default, which is 3206, and we need to define the password here. I will show you how we going to retrieve a password from a secret manager. But for now, we will configure the password here. So let me open our Secret Manager. Okay. If you know all of the Secret Manager options, rotation, versions, I already explained this in our previous video. So this is our secret value. It is integrated with our MySQL. So there is no need to handle Lambda functions for the MySQL. So we are ready with host, user and password. Now we are going to pass on our SSL certificate. So we need to provide our SSL certificate. So how we are going to provide it? We need to define the SSL certificate path here. So defining the path, we need to import a file system module so that our Node.js application will retrieve the SSL certificate. Okay. I will open my GitHub page so that I will get basic syntax for retrieving it. So this is my GitHub repository. I already created a application here. And there is some mistakes in this code also. I will explain these mistakes. So here is a syntax for importing our SSL certificate. Okay. Why now we need to provide our path of our SSL certificate. This is a basic syntax. There is no need to remember this syntax. Just try to figure out the structure of the code or the logic we are going to implement. So CA stands for our certificate authority. fs.read file sync, which are going to search for this particular file name. So what is our file name here? Our file name is, it's available in local directory where this code is available. So I will give the path here as apsouth1.pip escape :wq. So let's check here. The name is available. Okay, the file is not available here. So we need to download, we need to copy paste it here. It's actually available in my root directory. apsouth1.pip. So we are going to copy it ap to our application 2 as a apsouth1.pip. Let's get back to our application 2 directory. If you do ls, apsouth1.pip is available. If we cat okay, the certificate is successfully copied here and its name is apsouth1.pip. Let me copy it. Vim rds.js. If you don't know how to use Vim, you can use any type of editor. Now we are ready with our certificate. But what we know in our SSL video, there is a mode for the SSL. We need for the security purpose, we need to define here as a verify identity so that the certificate is also get checked on the both side, application and server side. And the hostname is also going to check in that SSL mode. So how we can define this SSL mode here? Let me show you. For that, I need to move to our different directory, which is application 2, where I already defined here. So this is my different directory actually, cd application. Okay, actually is AP South 1, not the path I provide is a wrong path. So we need to define here a reject unauthorized as a true. So verify CA is get created, or the SSL mode is equal to reject unauthorized true. Verify identity is nothing but equal to the check server identity, which are so this block of code, what will it do? This block of code, it will check the certificate on both the side also, and as well as the host name in that certificate. So const error TLS check server identity host, if error throw it. So we need to just copy it. If you got a question how I got this code, any backend developer will know about it. And for me, I just get this block of code from the OpenAI. Beam RDS.js. Insert mode. Okay. So AP South 1.pem. We need to define here a unauthorized authority also. So let me just confirm the syntax again. I forget to copy it. So this is reject unauthorized true. Okay. Now we are ready with our host name, username, password, and the SSL certificate also. We successfully give here our path of our SSL certificate. We define the SSL mode here so that it will get confirmed by the application side and the server side with the host name. Now our connection code or the connection logic is successfully created. So let's try to execute this connection. So how we are going to call this asynchronous function? For calling that asynchronous function, I will use here IFI, immediate invoke function. So this is the basic syntax. We need to create a arrow function here. There is only any compulsion for creating the arrow function. Okay. I will call here that asynchronous function. For now, I will just give it one variable data await connection, and let's console log the data. Escape :double. I will assume you don't know the basic syntax of Node.js. Node RDS.js. Okay, we got a syntax here. Cannot use import statement outside a module. Okay, right. Because this is a Node.js, we cannot use the import statement here. We need to import it as a ES module, just like this, constant fs. So we need to change our syntax. Okay, I will just cross check it. It's constant MySQL require MySQL to promise. Okay, so we import our package here. Const data await connection. Okay, let me check. Okay, actually it's a pool, not a connection. Okay, now it's returning a undefined. Let's try with. Now let's cross check if it's catching the error or not. I will pass on here one wrong username and let's check it. Okay, still it going as undefined. Okay, because I didn't return here any type of output. Okay, so this is the basic mistake I did here. Okay, now if connection is get successful, I will return this connection. I will return this pool. Sorry, I will return this pool to our asynchronous function. If there is an error, I will throw the error. Okay, now what will happen? If there is a successful connection, it will return that pool to our asynchronous function, and if there is error, it will throw that error. Because this function is throwing some error, we need to create a wrapper here also to catch that error. So I will create one wrapper. I need to console log the error. Now let's see. We give a fault username here. Okay, I just not close the try block here. Let me close it. Okay, now it's returning the pool to our pool variable. Okay, I just mistake in my explanation. Let me show you what I did. Okay, if I pass that wrong username, why it not getting any error? Because we are not using that pool for fetching one connection and execute the query. If we execute the query, then we will get the error of wrong username and password. Because the connection is get successful or the creation of the pool is successful. That's why we are not catching that error of wrong invalid username or access is denied. If you execute the query on that pool or fetching connection from the pool and executing the query, we will get the error. Okay, there will be no issue. So let me explain more options here. If you just open the documentation again and just scroll down here, you will get the extra pool options here, connection pool specifications. As we discussed earlier in your RDS proxy also, there is a idle timeout, borrowed connection timeout. So same thing is available in here. So let's start it. It's username, password. We can define the password. We can define the database name. By the way, its connection options is for the connection options. Okay. We can define ports, socket, time zones. SSL certificate also is available here. So all options are available here. I just want to show you the connection options. So let me show you. Okay. Let me just turn on my laptop check. Oh, so the connection timeout option is available here. The millisecond before a timeout occurs during the initial connection to MySQL server. Default is 10 seconds. Connection timeout is equal to a borrowed timeout. Where, if you remember, I explained what is a borrowed timeout. Our connection pool is going to wait for getting any connections, free connections from the client side. If you know, I explained this borrowed connection is equal to our connection timeout. It's default in 10 seconds. If there is all connection consumed by from the consumed in our connection pool, then the connection timeout error will be get. The default is 10 seconds, and there is an ideal timeout also. Let me show you. Ideal timeout also is available. Maximum connection limit, we can define a maximum connection limit here also. Maximum ideal time, ideal numbers is also we can define, and max ideal timeout. So this is the settings. Just like RDS proxy, we can define in the our MySQL tool pool also. If you open pool options specifications, we can see same options is available here. Wait for connections, connection limit, max ideal, and ideal timeout, and the connection timeout also. So these are the same options. I will leave this option as the same default settings. For testing out these variables, or we can say parameters, there should be a high traffic. So we can, and I cannot testing this variable because there is no any high traffic in our application. So I will leave this option as it is. But if you want, you can define this option. Now let's back to our pool output. So here is also it defined, it returns our pool. It contains max ideal connections, ideal timeout, available connections, and free connections. If you want more in-depth knowledge all about all of these objects, you can just Google it. Okay, for now we are ready with our connection. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create one function, another function as we discussed in this diagram for executing the query. So let's create one function here. It's asynchronous function. If you know what is asynchronous function, then you will get to know what is the need of asynchronous function and why we create only asynchronous function instead of a regular function. I will give it name here as execute query. Okay. The structure is same. We are going to use here try catch wrapper so that if there is any error, we can catch that error. Now we need to define our logic here to execute the query. So let's back to our documentation where we can find that query syntax. Okay, so here is a pool.execute also, but we are not going to use a pool.execute. We are going to use a pool.query. If you want to know the difference between pool.execute and a pool.query, what I read is that execute is for executing the batch of queries. So we are not going to execute the batch of queries. We are going to use a connection.query here. Here is the query for here is the code logic for executing the query. We can execute the query in two ways, by using the pool.execute also and by using the pool.query also. Let me show you here. So here is. So what is the difference between it? If you use a pool.query, we need to wrap it by using a try catch block. Because if there is any error while executing this query, this will get catched by this catch block. But if you are executing the query by using pool.execute command or the pool.execute method, there is no need to use a try catch block because this execute query we can handle the error in itself also. As we can see in the script, error rows fields, if error, instance of error, console.log error. We can handle the error in the execution block itself. But for now, just for simplicity, we are going to use a dot query method to get data from it. Before getting query, I need to explain one more thing here. It's about await pool.get connection. So we need to get one connection from the connection pool, from our pool, so that we can create another, so that we can execute query by using that connection. But in our case, there is no need to get a connection, or you use this await pool.get connection. So why is that? Because if you use a await pool.query directly instead of using await pool.get connection, it will going to get one connection and execute the query and return back the connection. So the life cycle of the connection handles automatically if you use a pool.query. Then why there is a need of pool.get connection? We can manually get a connection from the connection pool, and manually we can release the connection in scenario where example there is a transaction going to happen in our database. In that scenario, we can use pool.get connection. But for now, we are going to use a pool.query here. So I will just open here. Constant response equal to await. So what is our function? It's a pool. Actually, it's not a response. I will give it as a connection because this pool is returning the pool to our pool function, await pool. Okay, now we are going to create one response as a variable, and we are going to execute the query on the basis of that pool. If you didn't get what I just said about the get connection and release connection manually, again, you can use OpenAI for clearing out the concept. Connection.query. You are going to execute the query. Query is simple, show databases. And we are going to console log t. Not console log. We are going to return that response. And if there is any error, it will throw the error. Okay, now what we'll do here, instead of calling the pool, we will call execute query. Okay, if there is an error, it will throw the error. If there is any output, it will use the output. So let's execute our code here. Node rds.js. Unable to get local issuer certificate. Add promise pool.query. Handshake SSL error. Okay, I might be there is an SSL error, but the error is related to the SSL. Let me just cross check it. It's actually apsouth1.pem. It's apsouth1 or apsouth1. Let me cross check. It's apsouth1.pem. Okay. Let's try by giving the username, correct username. Unable to get local issuer certificate at promise pool.query. Okay. Okay, let's check our previous code in application 2. What the mistake I did here. I think the SSL certificate is actually right. Might be there any syntax error in by providing the SSL. Because of that, it gives us a SSL error. So let's check it. Vim rds.js in here. Okay, the syntax is right. CA file fs read file sync apsouth1.pem. Okay. Let's try by using the endpoint of our RDS. Okay, I will provide here an endpoint of the RDS instead of RDS proxy. Let's see what happens. We have only one point here. It will give output. Okay. It successfully gives us output. So I will stop the video here and let me debug it. Why it shows us error, SSL error for the RDS proxy endpoint. Okay, I just debugged that. Let me show you what problem we faced and what is the reason. Problem is a simple because we provide the RDS endpoint and we provide the certificate for the RDS endpoint. Then there is this certificate is only available for the authorized for the RDS endpoint. if you remember, where we download the certificate from our documentation. Now what is happened here? What was happened? Because of we providing the endpoint of our RDS proxy, and we define or specifying the certificate which is valid for the RDS endpoint. So that is the reason it is not handshake is not get occurred between the RDS proxy endpoint and our client application. So where we can find this certificate for the RDS proxy? For that we need to open the Aurora documentation. Why I am recommended to use Aurora documentation for RDS proxy? Because it provides more information as compared to normal RDS docs for the RDS proxy only. So let me just open RDS proxy section here. So here is using RDS proxy, and here is RDS proxy concepts and terminology. If you just scroll down, you will find out this section here using SSL TLS with RDS proxy. Just read that line. While using a client with SSL mode, specify the SSL CA option pointing to a CL file. Yes, we pointing the CA file with of .pem format. For the .pem file to use, download all root certificate PEM from Amazon Trust Services. Okay, we need to download all root certificate authorities. So let's open Amazon Trust Services. Okay, so this is the another certificate provided for the RDS proxy, and RDS points is the another certificate. So we need to download all root CAs. And after downloading all root CA, what we need to do? And place them into a single .pem file. We need to place them in a single .pem file. So I just downloaded this all root CAs. Let me open it. So this is the all root CA. We need to download all of them and place them in a one single file. Now let me show you here. I just created here one file called a root.pem. Here is a file root.pem. So certificate is available here. I just copied that certificate and paste it here. Now vim rds.js and use that root.pem to as a path or the provider certificate here. Escape colon. And one more thing I changed here is because the connection.query is a type of returning a promise, we need to provide await here. It's better to clear out the concepts of await, asynchronous, promise. Then we'll better understand the code. So let's execute the query. Node rds.js. Okay. I will explain why this connection is open. There will be no issue. But just see the output. It returns the output with the database available in our MySQL engine. But it also returns some metadata. So do we need any type of metadata here? For me, I don't need any type of metadata. So how I can get only the output? For that we can use a D structure. Insert mode. Again, if you don't know about the D structure, now I will explain what is the D structure. Now it will return only the data available. Database is available in MySQL. So what is a destructuring? Destructuring in array is nothing but the, let me show you. Suppose this is our array. That array have multiple arrays. Okay, consider this is an array which contain multiple arrays. Now we want only the first one array. Then how we can get the first values of array only. So we can just destructure them. We can provide as data, just like. Then it will return only the first array. If we just specify here the position, it will return the another array. So this is nothing but the destructuring of array. Let's cross check the concepts. Destructure array in JavaScript. You can go to the Lambda docs. So here's the example 0, 1, 2. For the car it will use Mustang. For the truck it will use this truck model name. For the SUV it will use this. So right, this is nothing but the destructuring of an array. By using this concept, we get only the required output, which is a list of databases. Node.js. Now, why the connection is open, I will explain. Because we didn't terminate any connection here. So that is the reason our connection is get open. So how we can going to terminate the connection? Terminate the pool here actually. Because after executing this query, the connection is get returned to the connection pool automatically. So the lifecycle of connections get handled automatically if you provide pool.query, and if you provide pool.execute, then also the lifecycle is going to handle automatically. We can define the connection lifecycle manually also by using connection.get connections, and we need to release the connection manually. So what we will do, we need to define one finally block here, so that after executing all queries, we need to end up our pool. So we need to destroy our pool. So what we'll do, we provide here one block of code finally to end our pool. So in when our pool is get ended, we can define different type of processes here. Like if we just for now, if we just do Control C, our pool is get ended. This is the first scenario. Second scenario, suppose there is any termination process in our application, then our pool is get ended, or any unaccepted behavior, then the pool is ended. This is a third three types of scenarios where a pool is get closed or the pool is get destroyed. For now, we are just going to use a process for the Control C. If you press Control C, the pool we created will be get destroyed. So we will define here a process.on. And what is the process? According to me, I think it's init. So let's cross check it. Escape colon cd, it's available in application. Vim RDS.js. If I just scroll down, I will find a process. Okay, sign it. It's actually sign it, which returns a one function here. We need to end up our pool, which takes one asynchronous function. I will just copy it. If what will happen now? If I press Control C, then pool get end. So again cd application vim rds.js. Insert mode. I will paste that code here. Process.on sign it. Sign it is nothing but if you press Control C, this process get called, and because of that process, our pool get end here. So we need to define it as a global variable. So let connection. So const connection. There is not a const. There will be only connection. So that we can end up that connection here. I think calling connections not a better way. We can call a pool. Let new pool. because the connection is going to, if we going to take connection manually from our pool, then calling connection is valid. For now, we're calling a new pool here, new underscore pool, await pool, and here also we're going to execute new pool dot query, escape colon wp. Now let's execute the query. Node rds.js. We got the output. If I press Ctrl C, it's not going to show, but it destroys all the it destroys the connection pool which we created.